Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be going over what I think should be rebalanced in the game, specifically the Vikings. Last video I did was over the Knights, and I am going to be doing something very similarly for the Samurai later on. But for now, I'm going to be doing it over the Vikings. So let's go in order from top to bottom of the list of characters rather than tier list. I'm just going off the game hero menu. First off, we have the Vanguard Raider. Raider, in my personal opinion, seems to be a very well-rounded character. He has as many weaknesses as he does strengths, and he seems to be fairly good at lots of situations, but his number one problem is opening up turtles because he can't seem to actually get people to parry his zone on reaction because or off a guessing, because people know to just dodge it and it's completely lost. And so this leaves Raider with a bunch of limited options. Either completely ignore soft feint and go for a guard break or whatever, and that wastes a ton of stamina and he's left with nothing. Meanwhile, he also has a useless feat, like Slippery. Why is that feat still here? Why has it not been changed? Why is it here? Why? If it doesn't work, remove it or fix it. Please. So, I have a solution. Fix the Slippery feat, first off. Secondly, give Raider a guard break soft feint. Now, hear me out. I know that might seem a little bit overpowered, but you gotta think. Most of this game is based off of mind tricks anyway. And so maybe a guard break out of some heavies or a guard break specifically out of zone would better make him a viable threat. It just seems kind of fair to me. Also, his max punish does seem to be a bit broken. They fool with it around every now and then. So if they can stick with something a little bit more consistent with his max punishes, that'd be great. Because I've seen Raider go through like 5 different max punishes over the seasons. It's kind of stupid. And also nerf his zone stamina usage, because that's a huge part of what makes him him. So if you think one heavy, which is his unblockable, takes half his stamina, that doesn't seem quite fair. I realize the chain one takes just as much, like if you do a light and then a zone, it takes exactly half as well. I find that a bit inconsistent, but make it somewhat consistent. Make it take a good fourth, maybe? I don't know, just a little bit more than a fourth. But not exactly half, just to do a single zone. It seems to be a very good part of his moveset, make him viable. Might seem a bit overpowered, but I'm just beating around the bush here. He needs some kind of buff, but to make his zone a little bit more scary, but not something to push him over the edge and make him extremely over the top. Especially considering he has a his Raider charge. Which, speaking of which, the Raider charge should not have hyper armor. That's a bit too much. Like, it should not be, hey, my teammate can hit you 50 freaking times while I'm carrying you over to a wall and then some. It's not fair. Like, he doesn't. Its hyper armor is pretty much broken in that regard. Perhaps giving Raider hyper armor on his stunning tap would also be good too, because that's a small move. Like, come on, give him at least a little. Give him at least a little hyper armor. I mean, show some love to Vanguards. That's how that is. He's the only Vanguard without a hyper armor move, period. Warden has his charge shoulder bash, that has hyper armor. Kensei has his soft feint out of his unblockable heavy, that has hyper armor. Raider has nothing. Give him at least a stunning tap. That's all I ask. Next up, we have Warlord. Warlord. Poor little Warlord. He used to be top tier. He used to be on the S tier, right below PK, or even above PK, some would argue. And now he has fallen from grace, pretty much. His headbutt is still too good, so maybe make it how it was pre-patch, but just to even it out a bit. But buff the crap out of him. He has nothing good for him. He's supposed to be a freaking harasser, and counter-attacker, but his only counter move is practically useless. Like, seriously, buff that freaking light that after it, or give him a heavy, because you know how he has that melee off a parry and then a light? Why is that a light? Why is that a light? Just make it a heavy. Make it a heavy. Make him like Centurion in that regard, please. Like, he has nothing. Just make it so like when after he parries something, he can get a confirmed heavy with that melee move, and also make it so that he doesn't ledge near as much, because too many warlords, what they do is they try to go for ledges too much. So maybe shortening the radius of which he can throw people with his shield, but if he throws forward, he throws at an extending range, much like Raider, plus he still has that charging shield. By the way, speaking of which, fix the tracking on that charging shield. You could literally miss someone for no reason with that move. I've seen that time and time again. You literally miss someone for doing nothing. You can miss someone because you threw a light attack. That's how stupid that tracking is on that move. Like, try and find a middle ground with that. And last but most definitely not least, what was with that auto revive nerf? Like, if you're gonna nerf revive. Don't nerf the feat that auto revives them. It's practically useless. If anything, make it a choice to toggle that feat, because I have too many times where there are many situations where I would rather get revived by a teammate, get full health, rather than get half health. Or even just like I fall off a cliff and I'm stuck in that position where I can't see or spectate, period, because of the auto revive feat. Warlord is a broken hero at this point. Not because he's good, but because he only has one thing going for him, and it's practically worthless unless you have an immovable character like Lawbringer, which I have been in a situation before. It's not fun. Warlord is nothing but a ledge monster that headbutts people constantly. It's it. Buff him. Move his ledges, well, kind of. Nerf his ledging. But make it so he can actually do stuff. It's not good where he's at right now. It's not. Just buff him, please. Also, make sure his side heavies do more damage. Because. Well, not side heavies, more like top heavies, because they're a bit weird. Like, he's supposed to be a tank. Why does he have such weak heavies? He's the only heavy without good damage. Like, the only good damage he has is headbutt. Come on, guys. Come on. Is that so hard? Next up, we have Zerk. Zerker, I have very few problems with him, except for one thing, and that is the one thing only that everyone complains about. The freaking instantaneous lights. Oh, my bad. My mouse across my screen. Why does he have 400 millisecond lights? Why? There you go. Okay? I don't mind the lights being 400 milliseconds. In a chain! In a chain! No, I don't mind. I don't mind. I do not mind them being 400 milliseconds in a chain. That's perfectly fine with me. But in the fainting process, it should not be 400 milliseconds. Why? You basically have a PK zone on command from any direction. The problem with the PK zone is not that you can't expect it. You expect it. But the problem is you don't know when to expect it, because it's such a short time frame. Zerker is literally that. You expect it as soon as he does a heavy, but you can't do anything about it. And not only that, he can just use a heavy instead, and you're screwed over for 30 damage. You get 500 milliseconds, for the love of God. People can't parry that even if they do expect it. Make it 500 milliseconds. Out of the feint! In a chain, keep it 400 milliseconds, but out of the feint, make it 500 milliseconds. Perfectly fine. I'm happy. I'm happy with Zerker's rework other than that. The blockable, the 400 millisecond lights in a chain, because those were kind of easy to block. I admit, those were easy to block. But the 400 milliseconds, ooh boy. Some things, 400 milliseconds, like Highlanders and maybe Zerk's chain light, because he has an infinite, you know, he's supposed to have that. Fine. But Zerk's faint hyper armor on demand thing? No. Just, no. Next up, Valkyrie. Woo, let's buff Valk. I can't play Valk enough to tell you how much I really want her buffed. The few Valks I see are pretty good. The other few I find rarely that are just now starting to play her, they don't end well. The problem is she is supposed to be a very adaptable character, versatile. She's a hybrid. For some reason, okay, so the description of her is she's an adaptable hybrid that's hard, and she's also a disabler. What about her is disabling? She trips you and you immediately get back up, and even then she doesn't get a free heavy off it. Okay, so what I think is she should get the free heavy off of the trip without recovery. Like, seriously, is that so much to ask? And also, without it being unsafe, you guys don't want to talk about it. If she does a heavy after she trips you, you can actually free guard break her unless she does a light. Like, seriously, no. Make it so that when she shield bashes you, she at least gets a free light. At least a light shield bash. Because I know she can kind of get a heavy off the powered up shield bash. But make it so she can at least get a light when she normal shield bashes you. Because, like, seriously, come on, guys. Come on. Maybe make it so she can wind up the sweep instead of delaying it. Because, let's be real. The sweep, it's good, but it's bad. You can dodge it on reaction, but if a good Valk delays it even slightly, it's perfect. So, what I think is you should have the option to delay the sweep slightly. Maybe 100 to 200 milliseconds. That seems fair. 100 to 200 millisecond delay fusion control. Like, I heard Warlord heavies kind of have that property, but not entirely. I'm not really sure about that. So, to summarize for Valk, make it so she can get the heavy off the sweep without being punished for that. Make it so that she can get the light off the shield bash, and also make it so she can slightly, ever so slightly, delay her. That was actually fun. Maybe pop in a few new moves for her, because I seriously don't see how she's the disabler. I really don't. She sweeps. And you're literally instantly back up because she has nothing she can do in that state but punish herself almost. It's not fun. Next up we have Highlander. Okay, so I'm gonna just say this right out. Highlander is S tier in offensive form. Okay? I'm just saying that, okay? I'm gonna say that, but here's the truth. That's how this was supposed to be. Okay? That's how he was supposed to be. He's supposed to be a tank that can't take damage, or else he's pulled back into a state where he's near useless, but he has hyper on. That's how that's supposed to be. Okay? So, what I have for Highlander is almost nothing, really. I can't... Okay, well, maybe something. His Celtic Curse from the left is slower than the right. If you guys know what I'm talking about, for some of you Highlander mains out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's kind of stupid. Why make a 50-50 of the Celtic Curse feint when they're inconsistent in timing? Like, one's faster, one's slower, but it's weird. So, make them even timing, please. That's stupid. Like, you almost have enough time to feint the parry from the right and go to the left if he chooses to do it from the left. So, more often than not, you're left with that. Why even have the Celtic Curse in the other direction if it's too slow? Like, come on, do something. Do something with that, please. Fix that. Other than that, I have no personal vendetta against Highlanders. He seems fine. Winner's Advantage seems to be very difficult to pull off with me, but some Highlanders can use it. It's just a matter of skill and luck at that point, because Highlanders can pull off the caber toss. Though, one common complaint I have, or at least I hear from Highlander, is make it so you can differentiate the animations. They don't like his 50-50 because it guarantees 40 damage. I can see that 40 damage doesn't seem like a fair 50-50, as opposed to Warden's 25/30 damage off the 50, occasionally 40 if you're near a wall. Highlander is 40 damage either way, so it's... yeah. But there is no real way to differentiate the animations because it's done on reaction a lot with some Highlanders. So my main complaint: make his kill to curse consistent when he feints it from either side. That's just, I thought they would have fixed that in this rework for him, but they didn't. Like, that's the only complaint I have. Yeah, that's pretty much it. He's a good character. I like him. Shaman. Oh, God, I can't get enough of Shaman. Whew. Okay. So some people have commented on my previous video saying that sometimes nerfing PK's dodge heavy uh, was was probably taking a step too far. I'm not saying nerf for dodge heavy for her. I'm saying nerf for dodge heavy for Shaman. Because Shaman can get bites off of other people's bleeds, and then after she bites, there's still enough recovery for other people to bleed them again, and then rinse and repeat. It's not fun. And the main solving of this problem is, what would you think? Remove uh, blood trance off of other people's bleed. Now this poses a lot of problems, but it also solves a lot of problems at the same time. For instance, Shaman is supposed to be an assassin that's strong in 4v4 situations, but weak in duel, or weak in ganks, and in some situations duel. If she can deflect and manage to pull off a lot of bleeds, she can be decent, but in duel. But otherwise, no. And then there's also her bites tracking. Okay, so the main consensus is make it so she can't get blood trance off of other people's bleed. Or at least make it so she can't bite off other people's bleed. Possibly what I'm suggesting is make it so blood trance is activated, but unless the character is bled by Shaman's own hand, she cannot bite them. And make it so that when she does go to bite, the tracking doesn't immediately take a 90-degree angle last second. Like, it's supposed to be a straight grab around them. Shigoki's hug seems like a more fair tracking mechanic for that, because Shigoki has big, wide arms. And Shaman has tiny arms. Yet for some reason she can grab people at a 90-degree angle, but yet Shigoki barely misses them because they farted away. Like, this doesn't seem like a well-rounded way to go about that. So, kind of replace the tracking of Shaman's bite with Shigoki's hug. That seems more reasonable. Also, about second attempt, or her fast recovery for her bite. When someone's out of stamina, being tracked by a move like that, it tends to cause problems, but the second try can stay, for all I care. Because most Shaman are pretty stupid and keep going for the bite over and over and over and over and over and over and over. They never think, maybe I can go for a dodge heavy because of the second try and then also go for a bite. Like, come on, Shaman. Come up with someone original, please. So, maybe a slight rebalance on that. Other than that, I have no problem with Shaman. I really don't. Other than the tracking taking a weird thing every now and then, because the tracking in this game is kind of broken. Come on, you guys all know that. The only tracking that truly works is Raiders. Not even Raiders sometimes. Raiders take the 90-degree, but hey, at least it's more reasonable. Because, hey, he's running forward. Meanwhile, the only reasonable tracking that I like is maybe Centurion's kick, and I take that back. There's a lot of trackings I like in this game. But you get the point. Shaman's tracking is not entirely fun. And also, her getting bleed off of other characters does not make the experience well for someone. You're basically permanently stun locked if a PK or an Ibushi is with the Shaman right in front of you. You are stun locked infinitely. Like, right there, you're dead. So make it so she can't get the bite off of other people's bleeds, but she can get blood trance, meaning she can still heal if she hits you, but unless that bleed is hers, she is not going to bite. In my opinion, blood trance was a beautiful idea. But the problem is, it was basically saying if someone gets you and shaman's around, you're dead. Like Nabushi had that. But at least it didn't pin people down and make it so that you were infinitely dead right then and there. So, yeah. Okay. So at this point in the video, I'm going to summarize what I think about the Viking faction. Overall, most of them are balanced or weak. But Raider needs a guard breaks off feint and his slippery feet fixed, because my god, he would be beautiful if that was actually fixed. Warlord needs a massive buff, but needs to stop relying on headbutts and ledging, because Shikoki is supposed to be the ledger. Why? And then Zerk. Just slow down those lights after the hard feints. Just slow them down slightly, because honestly, it's not. No, it's a PK zone that you know is coming, but you can't do anything about. Valkyrie, massive buff. Give her actually free moves that don't risk her health, and also make it so she can maybe sweep and kind of delay it slightly so she can catch more people. Also make it so maybe she can get a collateral on that sweep, because that'd be cool. I'd like to see that. I haven't seen many people actually get a collateral with this sweep, so I don't know if it's entirely possible already, but yeah. Highlander, make his Celtic Curse consistent. Don't make it so one's slower than the other, even though they're the same freaking move. And Shaman, make it so she can't bleed on she can't bite on other people's bleed, but make it so she still has blood trance. On their bleed. That might seem a bit, and also make it so she can't track near as well with the bite, because the bite is, honestly, why does that track so much? It's stupid. So yeah, I'm not saying she needs to be nerfed any more than that. Any more than that, and you start going into what makes her useless. So don't do any more than that, please, for the love of God. This is what I think would make the Viking faction a bit stronger in terms of, well, what makes them fair, what makes them good, and what makes them,
you captured Zone C.
Well, consistent, to say the least. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I tried to give it my best effort to think about what all was wrong with these characters. Personally, I just couldn't find that much wrong with Berserker and Highlander, because while they do seem OP because they're both S tier, they are only so because of their 50-50s, which honestly, I don't have a problem with 50-50s. It's supposed to be mind games in this game. So my consensus is give more characters mind games. That way you keep them on their toes. Some people hate the 50-50s. I understand that, but it's, what good is a game if you can't guess what the other person's gonna do? At this point, it would be literally, you could literally just get a bot to do it. No, make it so like you actually have to get in the other person's head, know what they're doing. Fighting Highlanders is fun because you have to guess what they're doing. And if you're an assassin, you can completely counter them. It's amazing. It's just there. So that's what I think about the Viking faction. They're all balanced in some way in my idea. Meanwhile, in this current version, Raider is good character, but not many good openers. Warlord is only an opener and a ledger. Only. Kind of sad, actually. Berserker's good, just tiny bits too fast. Valkyrie needs a buff. I've not seen a good Valkyrie, or normal Valkyrie, in freaking forever. I have nothing wrong with Highlander other than that other Celtic curse thing, and that's just my pet peeve. And then Shaman. I know you guys hate Shaman. I don't hate Shaman. I just don't like that tracking. That's about it. Bye, guys.
You lost Zone A. You captured Zone A. You captured Zone C. You lost Zone A.